Well, hi, and I'm filming a little kind of extra video today. I've just had a delivery of new art supplies, and in it was this palette, which is by Kuretake, and it's the Gansai Tambi palette, and it's got 12 colours in. Now, I got this because I was really intrigued by how unusual some of these colours are, and I thought it was a really different kind of palette and not something that I've got, so I thought I would get it and give it a try. Now, I've got an affiliate account with Jackson's Art, who I bought this from, and if you buy anything through any of the links in the descriptions that take you to that site, then if you've not bought from them before, then you get a discount and I get some commission, which is very nice. It's not very much, but it builds up over time, and it means that I can use that commission to spend on art supplies from there, and test things out that I wouldn't normally have chance to, and maybe things that are a little bit unusual. So that's what I thought I'd do with that kind of commission money, and occasionally when it builds up enough I will spend it on something and then test it out for the channel. Today I'm going to swatch this palette, see what I think, and just have a bit of a play with some of the colours. I have the gold set from Kuretake, and what works really well is to load the palette with water and let it kind of sit there for a bit, and then you get like a really kind of creamy colour. So these are Japanese watercolours, and kind of what I'm hoping from this set is to get something that's a little bit different to the watercolours that I normally use. I'm guessing from the look of them that that they're kind of a little bit creamier and maybe a little bit more opaque than other watercolours, and that might give you some really nice effects if you get the translucency of watercolour, but you also get kind of like a creaminess as well. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for from these. Now they've got names in English on the little tear out sheet, but on here they've just got a number, and then they've got some Japanese writing, which I don't know whether it says the number or it's got a name, but I'm going to make up a little swatch card, I think, with the names on them, so I can refer to them by that. But this one I think is Cherry Blossom Pink. So yeah, oh, that's it's like bubblegummy. I'm just going to add a bit more water into that and see what happens when I kind of spread it out a bit. But yeah, that's quite nice. So yeah, it is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of chalky, but you get to see the watercolour paper texture through it. It looks really opaque down at this end. I think maybe I should try on some black as well, and see how it works on black, so I might give that a go later. We're just going to keep going. This one is number 13, Lilac. Let's just put that there. And again, just add a little bit more water and see what it looks like kind of spread out. But yeah, that's really pretty. So yeah, definitely don't have any watercolours like this. This is a really pretty blue. It's called Horizon Blue. It's very yeah, it's really like bright sky on a spring day kind of blue. It's pretty. This one just looks really dark in the palette, but as I'm adding water to it, it seems to be looking brighter. And this is Cobalt. Oh, that's very vibrant. But yeah, look at that. The intensity of that colour's lush, and then it like fades out really nicely. Lovely. This green, I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but it actually looks neon. It's really, really bright. And this is lime green. Ooh. It certainly is lime green. Wow. I really don't know if you can see like how bright that is, but it's like zingy. It really is. Okay. The next green looks more like an olivey green, and this is called Greenish Yellow. And it is like, it's like, what's that colour? Like chartreuse. And yet these are like transitioning beautifully when they become kind of transparent when you add more water into them. The ones up here, actually, when they've dried a little bit, they don't look so grainy. Now these two colours look very, very similar. This one's natural beige and that one's rose beige. Yeah, it's a very kind of creamy colour. It looks a bit like buff titanium, that kind of creamy white colour. It's a really useful colour. You can do a lot with it, and when you mix it with other colours, you can get a lovely kind of warm creaminess to them. So let's see whether the rose beige has a similar look. As I'm adding water to it, it does seem to be more on the kind of pinky peachy side. Yeah, it is. It's actually, these look more different on the page than they do in the palette. So yeah, much pinkier, that one. More like a plaster kind of colour. Okay, I'm going to run out of page for doing these. I'll have to get a new sheet. This one is Indian red. It's like a terracotta kind of colour. It's pretty. It's actually pinkier than I thought. I thought it was going to be more on the like orange side, but actually definitely more on the kind of pinkier side rather than the terracotta-y orangey side. So let's see what this one is. This one is maroon. Now I'd expect maroon to be more like purpley, but this doesn't look purpley at all. Oh, but then when you put it on the page, it does. Oh, that's really interesting. It definitely looks more brown in the palette, and then on the page it does look, yeah, it looks like maroon. Right, I'm going to go get another sheet of paper to do the last two. Let's just move it up. There we go. So I've got a grey, yeah, it's just called grey. Does look really neutral, it's not particularly skewing warm or cool. Yep. And then the last one looks black in the palette, but it says It's called Blue Grey Deep, which sounds to me like a Payne's Grey, which, if you know me at all, will know I love Payne's Grey, so that's could be quite exciting. Oh yes, that's a good colour. Yeah. Somewhere between Payne's Grey and Indigo, I think. Nice. Well, these are lovely colours. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with them. Let's see, bring that back down. So these swatches have now dried, and they are, yeah, they're kind of a little bit creamy, maybe a little bit chalky. Yeah, they are a bit more gouache, I guess, in that they're not quite as transparent. You do still get some like bleeds and runs and things with them, which you do with gouache as well, which makes for some really interesting effects if you like that kind of thing. So yeah, so we've got some reds and blues. There's no real kind of true yellows in there, so you're not going to be able to mix every colour from them. But I guess the point of having a palette like this is not because you want to mix colours, it's to use the kind of, yeah, the interesting qualities of the colours as they are. They do, as they're drying, they are looking kind of more chalky, especially these kind of pastel-y colours, which I guess is to be expected if they've got like white pigments in them. And yeah, they do seem to be like, they're very vivid. Yeah, I didn't have to kind of scrub at them to get the colours off or anything like that. They kind of, yeah, a little bit of water and then, yeah, just they work really well, I think. So I've got a little bit of black paper here, and I'm just going to try them on the black. Oh yeah, you can see that. So normally you wouldn't expect watercolour to show up very well on black, but these really do. That one probably won't as much. Yeah, that's the Cobalt blue. Okay, so they're the colours on black. They're still wet at the minute, but you can see them. And that's really interesting, not because you want to paint on black card, you might though, but because it means you could paint on top of other colours, and yeah, you can lighten colours that are darker by painting over them. And yeah, so that's a really interesting thing that you could do with these as well. So I've got myself, this is 100% cotton handmade paper. It's really kind of porous and it doesn't kind of take fine lines particularly well, but it's really fun for kind of, yeah, it's really fun for playing with. So I think I'm gonna just do some random shapes on here and then let the colours kind of bleed into one another. So let's just take it one at a time and let's just put some shapes in. Just gonna wash my brush between colours. So that is the Cobalt blue next to the cherry blossom pink. See, let's just get a bit more of the blue on that side. And the pink is really kind of making that kind of chalky. I'm gonna go in with some of this deep blue down here. Let's just see. I really like the deep colour on there, it's pretty. And then let's try just some of this pale blue, this kind of baby sky blue up here. Oh, now when that bleeds into there, you get some really interesting kind of little rivulets and things. I've got to be careful not to mix up the colours in the palette. And I think I'm going to see how this maroon blends with that. So there seem to be more transparent colours and more kind of chalky colours, and when they mix you get like these really interesting effects. I'm wondering if they're still going to be like there and like that when they dry. It'll be interesting to see how they dry. But they do kind of bleed nicely into one another, which is good. Tiny bit of that neon in there. There's some odd colour combinations happening here. I think I'm going to have to do a bit of everything, so I'm going to do that nice creamy circle in there. Just let it touch the maroon and the grey blue. Not really sure what I'm doing, but I'm having fun. I think I need another swipe down here like I did there. I think maybe that wasn't the right colour for that. But I don't know. See if I put some of this, the Indian red, just down that side like that. See how that looks. A little bit more water in there, I think. And then what haven't I used? I haven't used the lilac, but I used the lilac. I wouldn't normally use this many colours in a painting. Okay. And then, let's see, it's just, I've got a bit of green up there. I've managed to mess up that little bit of palette. And try and keep things clean. Go. I think I'm just going to do some stripes out here. That blue. I've got some green up there. I think I could do with some down here. So maybe some like random marks down here, like that. I'm going to make a nice kind of, not a regular shape, but kind of fill in the paper evenly. Then just kind of make sure I've got this space filled in with something. Do something down there. Let's go back to that pink. Put in a nice stripe of that down there. And then some more marks. A little bit down here, something dark maybe. Maybe that one. Like that. Let's put in some little marks, maybe some little splashes. I wonder what happens if you make this really wet and splash it in. This is just the kind of creamy colour. Oh, I quite like that. And I think that's a fun play. I'm going to leave it there. I'm a bit tempted maybe to come in later with some pen or some finer, a finer brush and add maybe a little bit more when it's dry. But we'll see. So here's this one that's dry now, and oh, turn it around. So yeah, this is really fun. Like we've got some real kind of like streaks of colour. It's dried on this paper kind of a lot more chalky, but yeah, it's nice, it's soft. I love the kind of around here, it just feels like soft and blended and really nice. And some really interesting kind of the bright pinks and the blues and the greens and things kind of lead to some really interesting kind of bright but not colour combinations. Yeah, I love the way these have kind of blended in there. So I've got yellow and green and red and all things kind of together but not. Yes, that's fun. So that was a fun play with these. They do behave a little bit differently to the watercolours that I'm used to. Not hugely, just like being a little bit more opaque, and they're not quite being sure of how they're going to mix and blend together and how strong the different pigments are and how they kind of interplay with one another. It just takes time to kind of get to know colours like that. So I'm going to have a bit more of a play with these, and yeah, but they do kind of do what I expected, which is that they're quite pigmented but also quite creamy. They have got some really vibrant colours in there, like almost neon-y colours, and yeah, I think they're going to be really fun. Thanks for watching, and I really hope that you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you again in another video very soon. Bye bye.